Ready?
Yo, for what? Might help.
We tend to view Walter White as a master chemist.
You're the goddamn Iron Chef.
But his true superpower, and his ultimate curse, is his ability to crunch numbers. The entirety of Breaking Bad is, in essence, one man's desperate attempt to balance the scales of his own moral ledger. Have you ever wondered why we spent so many seasons sympathizing with a man who cooks poison and cold-bloodedly eliminates his rivals? It's the magic of the numbers. From the very first episode, Walt builds a fortress of logic around himself, a fortress philosophers call Utilitarianism. He tries to convince us, and more importantly himself, that morality is simply a matter of addition and subtraction. But today, we're digging deeper. We're going to analyze how this effective manager transformed into what philosophy calls a utility monster. We'll trace his journey from that first pros and cons list regarding Crazy 8 to his final confession in Skyler's kitchen.
You didn't kill anybody sneaking in here, did you?
Didn't have to.
Let's go back to the moment before Heisenberg even wore his iconic hat. Walter White receives a terminal diagnosis. What does a normal person do? They fall into depression. They seek comfort. What does Walt do? Starts calculating. In his mind, he immediately constructs a framework known as consequentialism. It sounds like a disease, but the premise is simple. The morality of your action depends solely on its result. If the net total of happiness in the world increases, you've done good, no matter the methods. Walt's goal wasn't abstract power, at least not yet. It had a price tag. Remember the second season? Walt sits down and literally calculates the cost of his soul.
Could stay college, adjusting for inflation. Food, clothing, utilities. $737,000, that's what I need.
This is a brilliant writing choice. $737,000, not a cent more, not a cent less. At this moment, Walt signs a contract with his own conscience. He tells himself, I will die, but the family will be set. This is pure Jeremy Bentham-style utilitarianism. Bentham believed we could measure pleasure and pain in units. He wrote, nature has placed mankind under the governance of two sovereign masters, pain and pleasure. Walt takes this principle and turns it into a shield. Every time he needs to do something horrific, he pulls out his imaginary calculator. The death of one dealer will save my family from poverty. The suffering of one versus the happiness of four? The math says, proceed. The problem is that ethics isn't mathematics. In real life, you can't just cancel out a human life like a variable in an equation. But Walt was a teacher for too long. He's used to every problem having a solution. But then, the milestone is passed. The $737,000 is earned, doubled, and hidden in a crawl space. A rational man would stop. The balance is settled. But Walt continues. Why?
I know for a fact all you needed was $737,000 because you worked it all out, like, mathematically.
Because of a concept philosopher Robert Nozick used to dismantle utilitarianism, the utility monster. Imagine a being that has an abnormal capacity for pleasure. For an average person, eating a slice of pizza is 1 unit of joy. For the utility monster, that same slice is 1 million units of joy. If we follow the logic of maximizing total happiness, we should give all the food in the world to the monster, because its high will always outweigh the suffering of the starving masses. Walter White becomes that monster. He realizes that cooking meth and defeating his enemies brings him such a colossal, almost orgasmic pleasure that no amount of Skyler's suffering or innocent blood can outweigh it. He stops being a father in trouble and becomes a power addict. His arithmetic of sin breaks. He's no longer calculating his family's happiness. He's calculating his own greatness. In season 5, he delivers the line that kills the caring husband persona.
Jesse, you asked me if I was in the meth business or the money business. Neither. I'm in the empire business.
I'm doing it for the family is the most successful marketing slogan in criminal history. But let's look at this through the lens of John Stuart Mill. Mill was more sophisticated than Bentham. He argued that you can't just sum up pleasures. He distinguished between lower pleasures, basal instincts, greed, and higher pleasures, intellectual growth, moral duty. Mill famously said, "It is better to be a human being dissatisfied than a pig satisfied, better to be Socrates dissatisfied than a fool satisfied." Walt spent the whole show trying to convince us he was Socrates, making a noble sacrifice. But look at the poisoning of Brock. This is the lowest point of the series. Walt poisons a child to manipulate Jesse into helping him kill Gus Fring. His justification? The old calculator trick. "The boy won't die. I calculated the dose, but I will survive and save my family from Gus." He chose a lower pleasure, dominance over his rival, and dressed it up as a higher duty. He used his family as a human shield so he wouldn't have to look in the mirror and see the ambitious sociopath staring back. In the finale, the episode Felina, Walt returns to Albuquerque. I actually made a video specifically on this episode, link in the description. He isn't Heisenberg anymore. He's a ghost. He goes to Skyler, not to lie, but to finally file his true tax return. This is the shift to ethical egoism. Philosophers like Ayn Rand argued that the pursuit of one's own happiness is the highest moral goal. In the end, Walt admits he was never a utilitarian. He says the words that finally set Skyler and the audience free.
I did it for me. I liked it. I was good at it. I was alive.
This is the moment of absolute honesty. Walt admits he is the utility monster. He admits that his empire was the only variable that ever truly mattered. He dies in a laboratory, caressing a steel tank. It's his only true love, the process of turning chaos into order and chemistry into gold. Walter White is a warning. When you start justifying your necessary evils with the greater good or logical calculations, check to see if there's a Heisenberg with a calculator standing behind you. Utilitarianism is great for building roads or managing healthcare budgets. But when you apply it to human relationships, you inevitably become a monster. Love, loyalty, and human life don't have a market value. They can't be budgeted. Walt thought he was the master of his fate because he knew chemistry and math. But he forgot one law. In a closed system, entropy always increases. You cannot cook poison and expect it to bring healing. What do you think? Did Walt ever have a chance to stop? Or was the utility monster always inside him, just waiting for a diagnosis? Let me know in the comments. And remember, if you ever feel the urge to calculate the value of your soul, throw away the calculator.
I'm sorry, I have to go.